Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So, I was in Germany for work. I'm working on a system and trying to get the UK services set up correctly. I find that they have created England, Scotland and Wales as separate countries rather than regions of the UK. And that Northern Ireland doesn't even exist. My male German colleague decides that this is the time to mansplain to me how the United Kingdom works. He informed me that Northern Ireland was not in England. I was trying to tell him that, as an entity, Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, so in the system we were writing it needed to be linked to Great Britain to make up the United Kingdom. Because it's Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and we don't see Scotland, Wales and England as individual places. They are Great Britain, but we don't use that as a postal address, it is the United Kingdom. They replied, yes, exactly, Northern Ireland is not in England, it's in Ireland. No, it's not in Ireland. It is Northern Ireland, a separate territory. They replied that I was wrong. Hey, I only live in the UK, mate, and it's part of ERA. No, it's not. It's part of the United Kingdom since the 1600s and was not ceded into ERA after World War I. Well, I think you will find that I'm right. I've been there. I am told. I pull out my UK passport which says United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland passport. Cue shocked faces all around. Edit. Just to explain that this was about how places were recognized in the UK for postal addresses in a computer system, so England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are subsets of United Kingdom. Sorry if anyone thinks that I meant there were not real countries where you read below. I live in a small town in South Portugal. It is usually pretty calm, and one day I had a knock on my door, and it was a woman visibly angry. The conversation went like this as I remember. Hi, can I help you?
Yes, your car is illegally parked. It's blocking the sidewalk.
I look over to the street and there are 3 cars parked in the street, all completely legally parked. None of them were mine, by the way. That's impossible. My car is at a mechanic.
Don't lie to me.
At this point, I had a very screaming woman at my door and I just closed the door on her face and went back to talk with my friends who I was playing with. She was knocking on my door so hard that my friends could hear it from my mic. A couple days passed and I had a family dinner at my house, so my driveway was filled up with cars. My driveway takes 4 cars, so I had to park my car on the street. I heard a knock on my door. I thought it was my grandparents. I was still waiting for them because they got into a bad traffic jam. I opened the door and I saw the same woman I saw last week. We talked again and it went like this.
Your car again illegally parked.
I noticed that she was watching me move my car for my cousin, whose car had a key problem and he wasn't being able to lock the car and he didn't want to leave it on the street. Ma'am, do you see that my car is parked in a parking spot?
How dare you?
I don't know why she got offended, and then she started screaming at me again.
Help!
After that, my friend who is very close to the family came out of the house and said, I will call him Mark. What's going on? I don't think Karen interrupts me.
Your little friend hit me with his car.
Yes, you heard it right. She's claiming I hit her with my car when I didn't even leave my house. As that drama happens, my grandparents pull up. Mark says, that can't be true, he didn't leave the house.
You will be hearing from my lawyer.
As she turns around and walks away, she bumps into my grandpa, making him fall. Luckily, most of my front yard is grass and little bushes. My grandpa fell onto the grass, and as soon as that happens, she goes way, but before she could take a photo of my license plate, me and my friend both run to help my grandpa. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt. I then discovered that she actually filed a police report for hit and run, and she's now trying to sue me. But in Portugal, you can't sue someone just because you want to. I have cameras in my house, so that footage could help with this. But now it has been about 4 weeks since that encounter, and I haven't heard from her again. I guess she's all talk as any existing caring. I fly RC airplanes. It's a hobby and therapy for me due to the fact that I have cancer. Now I do chemo every other week and well for the rest of my life. And I wear a chemo pump for 3 days that's powered by 4 double batteries, so after my 29th cycle, I have gotten a pile of new and used double batteries. I get 8 per cycle. Now onto the story. I took a big bag of the batteries to the flying field to share and give away to members that wanted or needed them, as all my planes and radios have rechargeable ones. After a while I saw they were all gone and I was happy to see them being put to use and not wasted. A few members said thanks and that's all I really heard till the next day. A man comes up and asks if I was a guy that brought the batteries, and I said yes. He then states he needs more of them and how soon can I get more. I was a little shocked but asked him to explain what he meant. He said he used radios at work and he was always buying them and he pretty much took all of them but needed more. For a perspective on how many he took was around 200 of them, 29 cycles by 8 batteries. Unlike so many posters here, I'm like a man on death row. The only difference is that I'm not in prison. I know my time is short, so my filter is gone. If I offend you, I really don't care anymore. I live for myself in a few years I have left. So I told the jerk to get lost and leave me alone. He started ranting that he needed these and I better get more or else. Wrong thing to say. I told him I'm slowly dying from cancer and if he ever threatened me again, he would regret it. He went to the club president and complained about me and they told him that I have been a member for 19 years and I was sick and not to mess with me because I just don't care anymore. And if he remains acting this way, he will be removed from this club. So I figured it was over, but nope. 2 days later I got a call from John, the club president, stating that they removed him and banned him after he started calling members how he was trying to get me kicked out of the club. All over some free AA batteries that cost a few bucks. Some people just make me sick. Yesterday, my baby, 16 male, had his very first job interview. It was just going to be him and me going to his interview, but my mom and older son wanted to come along as well. Older son wants a haircut and refuses to let grandma near his head with her bad eyesight. My mom wanted to go shopping and I was kinda disappointed since I only had $6 and wanted to treat my younger son and I to a little snack. But I took them with me. We were really early, so I did a few errands. Then told my younger son that I would drop him off for his interview. Then take my mom and older son and drop them off at the grocery store before coming back to wait for him in the parking lot. After dropping off my baby, I was on my way to the grocery store as I pulled into the turning lane with the light green. I stopped completely because I heard the ambulance sirens going off and they were pretty close. A second after I hear the driver impatiently honk at the ambulance that's coming. He honks again and leans out to yell at me as the ambulance is going across the lane and honking at the other drivers to move. I did not hear what he said though. Once the ambulance was cleared to the other side, I went. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in the USA it's a law to either pull over if you can or stop the emergency vehicles to get to the right of the road when their lights/sirens are on. The not stopping or pulling over results in a hefty ticket and points against the driver's license. The road driver followed me and as soon as I stopped to drop my son and mom, he came up and started yelling and cussing me out. I was about to snap back at him but realized he was blocking other drivers. The cop that was talking to a security officer in his SUV drove over to us and wanted to know what was going on. The driver told him the truth, then got really angry when the cop told him that I was in the right. People really need to get better control of their anger. He should have never jumped out of his car and tried to fight the cop. It was very satisfying to see him get body slammed and cuffed. I was waved on. This happened a few years back when I worked at a hotel. I myself was initially employed as a maintenance engineer with simple responsibilities. Test pool chemicals, replace filters, room maintenance and so on. However, during the spring I was changed to overnight pulling security while one of the night guards was heading to do his 2 weeks of army training. Luckily for me, I was also getting paid slightly more for the overnight shift, so I didn't complain much. As a night guard, you have to be keeping the peace around the hotel, all 6 floors. This wasn't a hassle because I had a backup guy with me most nights, so I wasn't alone handling some ruffians whenever they caused a stir. One night, I believe it was a Friday, and my partner called in. We had a group of adults hanging by the pool around 11 p.m. after the pool was closed half an hour earlier. It was something I was used to, so I entered the pool area and told them, party of 6, that the pool was officially closed at 10:30. I got a couple scuffs and some complaints after, but they weren't too in a hurry to get out. Taking their sweet time to get out, dried off, and went to the elevator. I noticed they left around 9 bottles of alcohol near the pool and had to clean up after them. No big deal. Around 30 minutes later, we got a noise complaint from the 5th floor where some people were playing some loud music next door. I told the front desk lady that I would check it out. Sure enough, I got up to the room that was complained about and knocked on the door, getting to see one of the patrons from the pool area answer the door. He looked like he would fall over out of exhaustion if you gave him a breathalyzer. He says, "Yo, sup security dude? Evening, I'm here to remind you to keep it down please. I could hear you from across the building. People are trying to sleep."
So what? Not my fault if they can't sleep through it.
"It will be your problem if we need to come back. We have plenty of pilots and businessmen that are staying the night and need to sleep."
Get lost, kid.
He slammed the door in my face and turned the music down to an acceptable level. I shrugged it off and headed back down to my post to check in with the front desk lady. I gave her the lowdown and went back to waiting for another call. Not even 30 minutes later, we get a call from a different room complaining of a smoking scent coming from the room next to theirs and loud music being played. I checked the fire panel and sure enough, a smoke detector was disconnected from the room I just visited. At this point, I was unnerved at their audacity to keep disturbing the peace. But then again, they seemed to be very drunk. I head back up there again and knock on the door. Sure enough, the music quiets and someone creeps up to the door. Someone had stuffed a towel under the door so no smoke could escape. Fun fact, that doesn't work. And they were trying to remove them without being noticed. I lick my lips out of irritation and wait for them to open the door again. Slowly, a guy opens the door. The light is off. And oh heck, is there a whiff of weed in the room?
Can I help you?
Yeah, we got a complaint that your music was too loud and we got an alert saying your smoke alarm was disconnected from your wall. Is everything alright?
Get lost, we're fine. Why do people have to be so nosy?
Well, for one, I'm here to keep the hotel from going to hell. And two, I'm one of the maintenance people here. If your smoke head is acting up, I need to ensure it's working properly.
Well, you can't right now. It's too dark in here to see.
I smirk at him and flip the light switch. Lo and behold, he and his party were getting lit like 4th of July. They had little baggies on the floor filled with green leaf stuff, a couple Zippos, and broken liquor bottles all over. This was when the mist slowly started.
What the heck, man? We're trying to sleep here.
Looks like you're doing more than just sleeping. What's in those baggies?
None of your business. Now get the heck out.
Absolutely, because I'm kicking you out and finding the room for smoking.
Chill out, we're not even smoking cigarettes.
I'm pretty sure you don't have any cigarettes in there, especially from what I'm seeing and smelling. I'm partial to getting the police involved here real quick, but I'll tell you what. You can get out, take the fine, and find another hotel, or I will call the local police and have them arrest you for possession. Me and my partner were fairly lenient on such cases. As long as you took the fine and left, we didn't do much else.
Screw you. I've had it with you rent-a-cops.
You have 15 minutes to grab your stuff, starting now. I shut the door and start walking towards the elevator feeling a bit irritable, but shrugging it off as I walk. A couple seconds later, the door opens. I don't think much of it, but in an instant, I felt something slam into the back of my skull with a strong force. I lunge forward and turn around to see the same douchebag I just talked to grab an unopened bottle of ale and smack me in the back of the head with it. At this point, I am livid. Bear in mind I'm not the strongest guy, but I can take a hit. 5'8" and around 250 pounds, so I'm a bit on the heavier side. I glare at him straight in the eye. Out of his drunken vigor, he decided to take another swing at me. I plucked the bottle with my arm and pulled out my baton, knocking the inside of his knee in to get him to fall forward. As he did, he dropped his bottle and I quickly kneed his back so he fell onto the ground and I cuffed him. He squirmed and cursed me out, walking up most of the floor and having a couple people come out of the rooms to see the commotion. The other party people were shaking and scurrying towards the elevator with their belongings, where I followed after them and headed down to the lobby. Girl 1 asks,
Are you going to arrest him? Oh my god, he could arrest us too. No, he's a coward, he won't arrest you. He just likes showing off.
No, I can't arrest you. I will leave that to the police.
Because you're too much of a loser to be a cop.
We arrive at the lobby and the rest of the party bolts for the other elevators to the ground floor so they can get out of the hotel. I bring the guy down and throw him into a chair and tell the front desk lady, who was panicking at the time because I'm pretty sure I was bleeding, adrenaline is a wonderful thing to have, to call the police. She gets on the phone with Zim and says it'll be 30 minutes. The guy is sitting in a chair spouting profanities till an officer comes about 35 minutes later. The officer walks up to the desk and turns to the guy. The officer shook his head slightly in disbelief because he recognized the guy. Turns out he had a warrant for his arrest in another city for possession, selling, assault, and attempted murder. The officer wasted no time calling up his buddy who must have been waiting downstairs in a squad car. The officer asked if he assaulted me and if I wanted to press charges. I declined but did mention that there was a stash of drugs and paraphernalia up in a room. His backup arrived and kept an eye on the suspects. We went back to the room and sure enough there were still some drugs hidden in cracks and crevices. The toilet bowl, the sink, even under the mattress. I guess there was about 3 or 4 pounds of just drugs. Not entirely sure how I came to that conclusion though. We went back to the guy who denied having possession of any drugs until the officer dangled a baggie in front of him. He was escorted down to the squad car downstairs and that was the last I heard of him. Funnily enough, a few days later I found out that the room wasn't in his name, but one of the girls' names. Turns out she was also wanted and her card had the billing address where she was actually living, was the second girl. Overall, I had one of the worst nights of my life, but I digress. My head hurt for a week, no major bleeding, but there was a bump. Was it worth it? Probably. Okay, yeah, it was totally worth it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.